All right, everybody, welcome to the bench here on our Sunday afternoon. One of the things I'd like to talk about today is a new gun that I got just for the purposes of working with my curiosity. You know, I've never really been necessarily a fan of Taurus, but I am someone who does love budget stuff that really works. So one of the things that I think is really interesting is in the realm of budget stuff that really works, I'd like to look at something like Taurus, Savage, you know, some of the entry-level Remington. I also like looking at, you know, Kel-Tec and other things like that. Not necessarily that I'm a fan of any of them, but just that some of them intrigue me as being able to bring the ability to own a gun or to have a firearm for self-defense into the regular world. So one of the things I'd like to do is talk a little bit about this gun that I just picked up the other day. So first of all, let's make sure that it's clear before we handle it. Okay, we're good on this particular case. This is the Taurus TH9. I wouldn't be surprised if this was actually a little bit of a copy from something that they had done earlier, maybe in the 1980s with a couple of their steel frame pistols. But one of the things that I do see is that it takes a lot of different elements from several different types of guns and combines them into one, what I consider to be very competent gun. So, since we've went ahead and safety checked this, let's just kind of talk about some of this stuff a little bit. The gun itself is completely ambidextrous, except for the ejection, of course. Let's see, we got a safety here, safety slash decock, slide release, and then the slide disconnect. Slide release, disconnect, and the safety slash decocker right here. Magazine disconnect on both sides. And it does feature a Glock style takedown, which I think is great. All you have to do is basically just, you have to have the magazine out, and it's that easy to disassemble the firearm, and then all you have to do is just slap it back together like that. If you're able to see inside here, I know that it's not great, but you can see right in here, they've done a little bit of polishing in here just to help make the feeding a little bit better. Something that I am appreciative of. Outside, we've got an external extractor here. This is a stainless steel barrel, 4.25 inches. There's nothing specifically great or bad about this barrel, and frankly, it's just fairly competent in everything it does. We have a plastic or polymer guide rod with a capture double spring, much like the Gen 4 Glock. So, if the hammer is in the cock position, the external safety can go up. It's very easy to operate, and then if it goes down, it can decock. And of course, it does that from both sides. Sights, we have Novak style sights, and they actually say Novak on them. One of the things we have is just a rear set of slide serrations, but they are nice and sharp. And not sharp that they would abrade your fingers, but nice that in almost any condition you can get your hands on them. Nice full length rail right here. And then a what do they call that? A tactile. They call that sometimes a memory slot where you can just put your finger there. It helps me to remember when I'm holding a firearm like that to put my thumb in that position to also really work my grip. So obviously we've got this idea taken from Glock. Interchangeable back strap on this one. I've put the large in there. The grip is nice and sandy. I will say it's got a grit to it, but it doesn't have any kind of chunky type of grit to it. Obviously there's some injection molding marks in through here, something that you probably should expect in a gun at this price point. So I'm going to say that this gun is built extremely similar to the SIG P2022, similar to of course most of your single double firearms out there, but it does have some special stuff. Normally one of the things that makes me insane and angry about Taurus firearms is that almost everything they sell has an external safety. You can put Ruger in that camp too. That being said, this firearm right here, while having an external safety, has an external safety slash decocker. What that does is, that is a feature that you would normally expect to get on any single action, double action pistol. Single action, double action, meaning that your very first pull will be a long pull, and then after that, your second and consecutive shots will be single action. And of course, if you wanted to carry cocked and locked, you have the ability to do that. The safety is very easy to use, but it's also so easy to use that I almost wouldn't want to count on it. So I would carry it with the safety down. Trigger is plastic, and the feel is okay. As you'll see from some of our range shooting, I obviously don't shoot nearly as well with this as I do with my VP9, but my VP9 is my main carry gun. This is something I was looking for giving to my partner to make sure that she has the ability to have a very, very good and competent weapon in the nightstand. She has a PT-111 right now that have been kind of given to her that she has an iffy history with about it being functional. So I wanted to make sure that we could get something that was functional. A couple other people have had long-term reviews of this and have shown that they've had 5,000 plus rounds without a single failure. I took it out, shot 100 rounds through it, did not have one failure. And that was with Herters and with American Eagle 115 grain ammo today. The reason we have the Python out today is maybe just for size comparison, but also I had the Python out at the range. One of the things that I think is really important to see from an ergonomic standpoint is the magazine has these little grip points. This is something that's really great in case you have a jammed magazine and you need to go ahead and try to pull it out. That's awesome. And then the magazine does integrate nicely with the bottom of the grip. These are MEC GAR magazines. So even though they have the little yellow follower for Taurus, MEC GAR of Italy makes these, and you get 2 of them. So fabulous, fabulous that you can have all of that in 2 MEC GAR magazines. It comes with this specific Taurus made mag loader that I've not figured out how to use. So I'm kind of over it. But 17 round magazines, MEC GAR, good reliability, everything you need, virtually nothing you don't. Price. Let's talk about this. This can be had, depending on where you look, anywhere between $280 and $380. Mine was closer to the $380 side because I got it from a retail store that has basically selling things at full price. But if you find these, you're usually going to see them, and of course this is in April of 2022, and their gun market is always kind of moving around somewhere between the mid 300s. Now, when this first came out, it was in the mid 200s, and it was an outrageous deal. My question is this still an outrageous deal for under $400? The answer to that is absolutely it is. I've had lots of $400 guns. I would say that this is up there with the best of them. Many, many years ago, you used to be able to get the SIG 2022 for $400. It's gone up to about $600 since then, depending on where you look. The other one that you could see around this price range was the Canic, and I still believe that's the best priced gun under $500, in my opinion. But if you're going to look for something that you want a single, double, this is the way to go because it has everything you need and nothing you don't. What you do is that you get at least some of the good customer service, relatively speaking, of the Taurus warranty, as well as having a gun that does extremely well, is extremely reliable, extremely affordable, and instead of having some of the Taurus quirkiness, it works more like a normal style of gun. Instead of having an external safety that you have to worry about, you have a decocker. So it's like Taurus really decided to use this gun to make an actual gun that would compete with a lot of the contemporary polymer frame single doubles out there. So would I buy this again? Yes, 100%. I have absolutely no fear of using this gun or carrying this gun. Duty, self-defense, car, whatever you need to do. This is a good gun. It's up there. I would easily put this next to a Canic or Smith & Wesson SD9, which is a extremely good bargain value gun. And then a couple of the other SAR offerings, or BUL, B-U-L. So these are all going to be in that very, very reliable and well-made pistols for an extremely good value. So I hope everyone's doing well. I appreciate you spending the time watching this with me, and while I'm talking about some of my favorite things to do. But I believe that this one will go ahead and stay in my collection. It'll be a great nightstand gun for the missus, and I believe that I can go to sleep at night knowing that she feels confident that if I'm not there, she has something that will absolutely work. So I think next phase will be getting a light. She'd like to get a laser. She and I will kind of be discussing whether or not that's sort of something that she wants to work with. We might try one or two things, but luckily this gun has a whole lot of room to add things, and so we'll be working from there. Bye-bye, everybody. That one was way low and left. Okay. It seems that I like to pull low and left with this gun, so I need to focus on that. Okay, when I take my time, it's more head on. All right, so I'm going to follow that up directly with 10 shots from the HK VP9 at the throat level, okay? So we're going to go VP9 right now, just in comparison. Accuracy, everything. Now, I've been warmed up on the TH9, but we're going to just compare VP9, which is my main carry gun. Okay, that was 10 from the VP9. We're clear. We're clear on the second. Let's go ahead and examine our target. So the one at the top here, this will be 14 rounds from the Taurus. This one and this one's tended to drift, but then look at that group, really tightened up as I was going. So really spending the time and focusing on this gun is going to get me where I need to be from a shooting standpoint. Obviously here, this is my VP9. This is just cold. So obvious that the shooting with the VP9 naturally does hit better with the 115 grain right up we have it. The TH9 is just going to require a little bit more practice, but as you can see, we're sort of bug holing 11 to 12 rounds right there, and I am happy with that. Mr. Gentleman. Okay, here we go, TH9. Okay, so that was 10 right there. Here's this group. I got most of them to stick here, so that's a major improvement. Really noticing just the hold and the squeeze dynamics that have to be done with this. This is a lot better. I'd like to get more of these touching. Let's try again another group. In this one, we brought a lot of the group together. I still had this one that went really low at the very beginning, but over here, it looks like we are getting better. All right, so right now we're going to be dealing with the Taurus TH9. Value 9mm. I'm going to be doing about 7 or 8 yards. I'm going to be doing 10 shots from this MEC GAR magazine, aiming straight at the number 5 on the small target. Ring, single action. Okay. All right, so here we are on this one, 10 shots. I started to kind of get a feel, so I'm pulling a tiny bit left, and I had a couple of flyers in those directions. So in the next 10 rounds, all right, so focus here. In this next group over here, we have 10 that went into this group right here. So this was all on single action at about 7 yards. So basically, when you look at both groups together, none of them are particularly impressive, but that's also the very